I am Palash Mishra, and today the topic of discussion is going to be application of automata theory in game theory. Alright, so let's start. So, abstract. In game theory, presenting players with options and different ways to react to something directly affects the performance. So, in game theory, it means that presenting players with different options and ways can obviously affect the performance in many ways. Like you're providing them like where to go, where to what to do, and whom to hit. So these all will directly affect the performance. Using application of automata, we can present players with strategies. It is found that finite automata, adaptive automata, and cellular automata are used in game theory. So these are the three automatas which are used in game theory. Okay. Then application of finite automata are to be application of finite automata are found to be limited to present simple and easy strategies. So we have finite automata. It is very limited to only easy and simple strategies. But on the other hand, we see that cellular automata and adaptive automata are majorly used in complex environment, where the number of complex are high, and therefore complex strategies are required. Obviously, we have to have complex strategies. Without the complex strategies, we cannot develop a very good game theory for a particular game. So, cellular automata and adaptive automata are two majorly used in complex environment. Then, I'm gonna start with introduction. Any problems with interactive participants and actions can be treated as a game. Okay, so like any like major like life we are living in that we can provide with it can be used as a strategy or interact and strategy and it can be treated as a game. For example, when a car drives put or plan to drive in a heavy track. So like there are many games like car simulation in which you have to drive through the traffic and not hit a car and like stop when a signal arrives and like that. In election, choosing a platform is a political game. Yeah, that's right. You have to choose the platform, particular platform for this when the vote is going on. Like if you want to do it online, offline, or what stage you have to choose, like that. The owner of the factory deciding the price of his product is the economic game. Yeah. Obviously, game theory can be present in a wide range of applications. So there are not only these particular which I have said, there are many other applications of these game theory. When a user bids on bidding web based websites, they're actually playing a auction game. Yeah, this is also a very good example. Like we are bidding on a website. If like in I during IPL there are many websites in which we can bid. So these are all using game theory, basic game theory. So now I'm going to explain what is game theory. Game theory is a branch of mathematics that provides tools for analyzing situations in which parties, which are called players, make decisions that are interdependent. So, game theory is a branch first and foremost, and it is like for players, and they can make decisions that are interdependent. A solution to a game describes the optimal decisions of the players. Optimal decisions of the players. Optimal decisions of the players who may have similar opposed or mixed interests and outcomes that may result from these decisions. Yeah, so a solution of a game when the game starts, it is in the hands of the players like what they want to do with it. So it's obviously in the interest of the players that what will be the result of the game and what will be the result of these decisions. In fact, game theory was originally developed by Hungarian-born American mathematician John von Neumann and his Princeton University colleague Oscar Morgenstern, a German-born American economist, to solve problems in economics. So, automata in game theory. The applications of automata. Applications of automata in game theory pays off to participants. So like I said before, like this all game theory, this all depends on the participants. However, game theory studies the rational behavior in situations involving interdependence. So these rational behaviors, these are the main thing involved in game theory. Like the game theory will only win when people play games rationally and not play games with co-operational behavior. So if the players will think about other players and get influenced by their decisions, then game theory will not work. It will work only when each and every person is playing according to their decisions and their mindset. So then only the game theory will work. Generally, game consists of following entities: players, environment, successor function, terminal test, and utility function. So what the players are one side of the game which one player tries to maximize the game while the other tries to minimize the opponent's score. This is basic. However, these players can be humans, computer applications, or other entities. So one player is like trying to win, and the other playing is trying to pull down that person. This is basic thing. Then this includes both position and possible moves for players. What is successor function? The successor function includes action and returns a list of pairs where each pair indicates a legal move and the resulting state. So this result a list of pairs in which each pair indicates a legal move for each player, like what they have to do next and what will be the result of their decision. So this is what successor function is. Then terminal test. Terminal test, it specifies that when the game is over. So that it specifies. And utility function is the numeric value. Utility function is the numeric value of the terminal state. Okay. Then application of automata in game theory. Automata theory has presented various types of automata with different characteristics. We will now go through the applications which have successfully utilized the concept of automata in game theory. Alright. Back to 1985, Newman tries to model the fact that players can do only bounded computation by modeling the iterative business dilemma players as finite automata. 1 year later, Rubinstein tries to show that costly competition may affect an agent's utility. Rubinstein assumed that players choose a finite automation to play the game instead of choosing a strategy directly. It was clearly stated that players' utility depends on the automation's move and the complexity of the automation structure. Yeah, so Newman in starting Newman tries to model the fact that players can do only simple bounded computation and nothing else. Like it was very basic. Then after that, Rubinstein actually showed him like they could do this costly computations which will affect the agent's utility. And after that, players' utility depends on automation moves. In other words, automata that use more states are capable to represent more complicated procedures. Yeah, so, or which has more states, which automata, it can represent more complex procedures. In 2000, Duris et al. Were the first who formalized the idea of finite automata in Prisoner's Dilemma instead of modeling players as polynomially bounded Turing machine. So Turing machine is also a very plays a big hand in game theory, and Duris et al. Was the first one who came with the idea. Recently, finite automata have been widely used to represent player strategies in game theory. However, finite automata are found efficient in representing simple strategies in game theory. Nevertheless, game theory is interested in representing simple strategies since many real-life applications do not require complex strategies to achieve real goals. So this is we have a finite automata in which the starting state is A and the ending state is B. Mathematically, finite automata are a four-tuple structure which described by R and follows. So this is where S is a set of states, I is an input symbol, and so S belongs to S in initial state, and F S cross I, which is directed to S, is a transition function. Alright. The automation represented in this figure has four states: C, C1, C2, D1, and D2. The arcs between the states represent the transition. The four states can only be triggered by the numbers associated with the arcs, resulting in transition between the states. In this example, this fc1, 0 goes to d1, and f2, where f another function where d2 has 2 and it goes to c2, and so on. Initial state is the one with an empty arrow and its direction. So this will be c1. The so we have right here will go to c1. Alright. The following sequence of plays illustrates the role which finite automata can play in representing strategies. First, the player selects C as an initial state. If on this round none of the other two players let's see, the total number of cooperator will be 0, including the player itself. The transition 0 will change the current state from C1 to D1. In the following round, the agent will play D, since the current state is D1. Assume that one player is cooperated, therefore the total number of cooperator will be 1. The transition 1 changes the state from D1 to D1 itself. In the next round, the player will play D again. So, like if I try to show this d1 right here, when it gets input as 0, it goes to itself, like it has a self loop in this. And when c1 we give an input 0, it will go to d1, and d1 when the input is 2, it will go to c1. Similarly, even c1 have a self loop when we give an input of 1 and 2, and c1 will go to c2 if we give an input of 2. Similarly, if we give C2 input 0, it will go to D2 here. Okay, so however, using finite automata as a modeling language has its limitation. Finite automata are only capable to recognize regular languages. So these were the people who told that in 2010. Only regular languages are accepted by finite automata. In other words, it is possible to guarantee arrival at a specific state only for a determined class of input sequence. So the sequence of input, it has to be only specific to arrive. So this was my PPT on game theory, which is the application. So yeah, that's it. And thank you. I presented these slides. Yeah. And I am Palash Mishra. This is the assignment of TOC, digital assignment 2. Okay, thank you.